What's going on, guys? We're here. We're live. Welcome to a brand new Poker Live podcast. My name is Jose Ingram1, aka Chicago Joey. You can check the podcast out on iTunes if you're on iTunes, guys. Poker Life podcast. And let's get into it, man. Joining me back on the podcast today is one of the podcast favorites. He is he's an avid Twitch streamer. He's known now for being a live streamer on Twitch. He's known for posting funny videos of hands where he somehow never loses a fucking hand ever at any game on his YouTube channel for the highlights in the stream. I don't know if he's known as debatably the best heads-up Nolan Holm player in the world. I'm not sure. We're going to check verification for that. He is a two-time bracelet winner after he took down the tag team tournament this summer with the young puppy Ryan Fee while he was playing the one drop. I mean,
I was two-tabling.
Might never be. Literally playing two games at once. I got to witness that myself. It was a fucking glorious moment.
It was.
And he's one of my favorite people to talk to. Mr. Businessman, Mr. Poker, Mr. Heads Up, No Limit Hold'em, Mr. PLO, Mr. Bazam, Cookie Jars, and Big Dick Donger Kim's out in the chat. We got my buddy Doug Polk, a.k.a. WCG Rider. What's up, puppy? What's happening?
You know, with an introduction like that, it's like really hard to even come back with anything. But thanks for having me on the podcast, man. And you know what? It's been cool. We've been actually getting to talk a little bit more day to day, hang out, you know, kind of like the old days.
Mm-hmm.
Back when, you know, we would chat every day about the full ring streets. But, you know, good to be back on the cast.
Welcome back, Doug. Guys, schedule for actually, I don't remember this week, but next week's schedule, guys, we're actually going to be having on 3 new guests that I've never had on the podcast before. On Monday, I'm going to be having on a young guy whose name is Mike Vacanti. So Mike is a guy who lives in New York City. He's been the personal trainer for the past 2 years. So one of my favorite content guys, Gary Vaynerchuk, who I talk about sometimes on the podcast. So he's a personal trainer.
I've been following Gary V a decent amount lately too, actually.
Yeah.
He's like good to get like some strat ideas from. And I don't know if you follow him on Snapchat, but I generally speaking, I'm not a huge fan of his content, but you know, what he does works. And so I like to see kind of what he's up to as just some inspiration, if you will, for the content. Completely
agree, man. And my buddy Jonah got me in touch with this guy, Mike Vacanti. And Mike also he quit his regular job through playing poker. So he plays at the Borgata. He still plays poker now. He's also got his own business. He's got his own fitness stuff that he does in New York City. He's got a website. He's got his own everything there. So I'm going to talk with him about poker, about having his own business, all kind of stuff like that. Wednesday, we're going to have on the businessman, Bill Perkins, the life and boss himself. And next Friday, we're going to have on Charlie Carroll, aka Epiphany 77. He's a young 22-year-old tournament player, cash game guy. And that's it, man. Fuck, let's get into this, Doug. What's happening, partner? What's going on, man?
Not too much. So the World Series just wrapped up. That was fun. You know, this is actually the first year in several years where I really didn't just like put my foot in the gas and grind. You know, I like kind of picked my events a little bit more, tried to stay fresh. I found like in the past, the W stop starts, so I'm like, nice tournaments, gonna try to win a bracelet, gonna go hard, gonna have some bracelet bets, gonna play every tournament. Let's go for it. Mm-hmm. And then like I get about halfway into the summer and I'm just kind of like, yeah. Right. And I'm just basically burned out, right? So especially if you look at the way the schedule works, it kicks off with the Super High Roller Bowl. And then at the end, we have the one drop, the main event. So really, I think like playing those and then picking your events in between a little more carefully to try and not burn yourself out, still enjoy tournaments, etc., is the way to go. So my summer overall was good. Won a bracelet with Ryan Fee, obviously, in the tag team event, which was unbelievably ridiculous, by the way, because we were actually on my Twitch stream, like berating the event. Like I was like, oh man, like you only have to play 2 hands, like seems like a stupid format. And then Fee's like, this is the dumbest format ever, or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. And then in actually one of the POLKerNews episodes, we took that clip and put it in there. But to go from making fun of it while streaming to actually winning the event is completely absurd.
So a couple of things, guys. I hope you guys had a notepad out there for that piece of advice Doug gave at the beginning. So next year, you guys are going to want to make sure you play the super high roller to start off your summer, and then you're going to want to play the one drop at the end, and then put events in between that you feel like are going to be plus EV for yourself next year. So guys, just make sure you take that approach in 2017 World Series of Poker, and please listen to Doug. And also, so speaking on the tag team event, that was sick. So I was playing a PLO event during that time, and I was following along with you guys on Snapchat the entire time. I'm like, all right, these fucking idiots are gonna bust. They're like, you guys are like hamming it up at the table. You're drinking, you're getting out of line, you're loud. I'm like, all right, whatever, fine. These guys, they're having a good time. I like watching this. Then all of a sudden, it kept getting a little more serious and a little more serious, and you guys made it to the final table, and I was like, how the fuck are these two at the final table? And then before you know it, with the help of you coming over, doubling up, calling up, you bluff caught one time, you won a big hand, Fees brought the title home, and then voila, two bracelets are in the book for you, man.
Yeah, honestly, like the fact that I had to play the one drop during the final table was completely ridiculous. Like I would go on like a 15-minute break and be like, all right, I'm gonna go tag into the final table, and then just like play some heads up. And there was this one break that was like really notable. It was like I went on break and I came over and I get to the table and I get there on the turn and it's a big pot's brewing. Like this could be a bracelet or not a bracelet, right? And Fees, all I see is he's bet the turn on a board that was like Jack 8-6 King. Okay, so he bets the turn, and the other guy calls, Gabe calls, and the river is a Jack, which I know is not a very good card for Fees, and he jams the river. And I'm like, wow, this is actually going to be pretty interesting. If Gabe calls and we win, then I win a bracelet right here on my break. And Gabe eventually just tanks. He's like, you know what, whatever, and calls. And Ryan Fee has the 5-2 of nothing for the standard just 3-bet and run it. And Gabe has ace-10 for ace high. And he called him. I think he had a missed flush draw or whatever. So anyway, now I get to the table, and now I'm just like crippled, right, for my like little break where I'm going to play some hands. I pick up a couple small pots, and then the only real hand I play, I open King 9, the big blind call, or Gabe calls, and the flop is King 5-2. Not to get too strategy related here, Joey. I could see you smiling as we start to tell a hand. But anyway, the flop is King 5-2, and he check calls, turns a 3, check.
Wait a second. What hand do you have right now?
King 9.
Okay, top pair. All right, okay.
Top pair. We have the top pair. Sorry, but with 2 cards, so it's actually a good hand.
Okay.
So we bet King 5-2, get a call. The turn is a 3, and I elect to slow play. Go for the check back on the turn. And the river is a 7. And he checks, and I bet, and the flush gets in. And he check raises me all in. I turn around to Fees, and I say, I'm sorry, Fees, I have top pair. And I turn around, and I just slam my chips down in the middle, and he's just like, oh, ace high. And I'm like, top pair. And so I just double up, and then I leave. I played 3 hands, won all 3, doubled up, and then pieced out. And then while I was playing the one drop, the way I actually found out I won was someone from the Rio came over to me, and they were like, sir, do you want to take your winner's photo here, or should I take you over to the feature table? And I was just like, oh, I won a bracelet? Like, that's like, how often do you win a bracelet by just being notified by like the floor? So it was cool. It's good stuff.
What a time to be alive, man. So, there's a lot of talk before the World Series of Poker. You were talking about a lot of tourney regs being, tournament players being so bad. Is that assessment of these tournament players been backed up and verified even to a higher degree after the summer, or are you looking to go back on that statement?
I would definitely say tournament players have improved dramatically in the last several weeks. No, dude, come on. Give me a break. I know you like to get me on here and talk shit about the tournament players and jump through the hoops and whatnot. And, I'll always give you a couple good quotes just because, I do feel strongly. But, like, they're obviously not very good. They're nice people, though. They're good people.
Are they?
No, I'm kidding. They're good people. There's a lot of, honestly, like when I play a tournament, especially nowadays that I'm focusing more on like, brand awareness and trying to become more of like a poker, I guess, I don't like the word celebrity, but I don't really know what other word to use. I guess like poker, what word should I use here?
Poker ambassador.
Ambassador, sure. I try to be nice to people, ask everyone their names, try and, just basically be a respectful and nice person at the table and try and enjoy my time there. And a lot of the guys, if you do talk to them, kind of open up that dialogue, people will be nice back to you, and they're good people, Now, if someone's wearing a hoodie with like their sunglasses and headphones on and they won't talk to you and they're busy like min 3-betting, then yeah, that guy's gonna piss me off. But in general, I think the fields are full of like cool people that are not that bad to hang out with.
You know, I noticed a lot during the tournaments this year, the series, Doug. This is what I noticed a lot. A lot of on the phone for hours. They didn't even talk. They don't look up. They're on the phone for hours, man, playing the tournaments. It's kind of like 6 guys on the phone. I'm like, what the fuck's happening here? 6 guys on the phone. I better take out my phone and be on the phone too while these tournaments going on.
Yeah, you wouldn't want people to think you don't have a phone, right?
Well, that's
you gotta show power. You're at least good enough to have a phone.
I think a guy in the, I mean, whatever. I'm just gonna be very, very general word series of poker strategy. Nah, never mind. I'm not even gonna get into that. All right, Doug. So what else happened this summer for you, man? What else happened? We had the Upswing Poker Party, of course. I think that was a great time. I was at the Win Encore. Shout out to the Win Encore for letting the Upswing Party happen there. That was a good time. What'd you think about that experience?
That was great. It was actually very interesting being like the host, you know, and like having to like mingle around, talk to everyone, and like meet like, you know, a few hundred people or whatever. I think we ended up having around 300 people that came to the party, and you had some complimentary beverages, got to talk to a bunch of people at the Win, got to talk to a bunch of fans. There were actually like a good chunk of people that flew there for the party. There was actually someone from my high school who was like, yeah, I was like debating coming to Vegas or not. And then I was like, whoa, Doug's hosting this party. Like, I'm in. And then like he flew to Vegas and was at the party, you know. I hadn't seen that guy in years. So it was actually like, it was a good experience. It's a bit much when you're talking to someone and you can kind of see like people lining up to talk to you as well. And like, you know, at some point, like I know a lot of people like want to talk to me, and I do like talking to everybody, but at some point you like kind of have to go because you have to talk to this guy, you have to talk to this guy, you have to like shake some babies, kiss some hands, etc. No, JK. But anyway, so it's like it is a bit tough. You have to manage your time, and it was definitely an interesting experience being the host. But I think the event went great. I was really happy with the turnout. Everyone kind of went out clubbing afterwards, including your boy Joe Ingram. Stopped by, hit the club, and yeah, it was a good time, dude.
Yeah, I gotta say, I you know, I don't know what my expectations were going into the party, but I gotta say, I was pleasantly surprised. I thought that the venue that they had in the little players club there, I thought it was very nice. It was very fun. I thought the atmosphere was very fun. I met a lot of people there that were, you know, fans of the pod, fans of Upswing, and I'm looking forward to next year, man. I had a really great time. It exceeded expectations, and if you guys want to check it out, I put a video up on my YouTube channel at Joe Ingram 1 of the Upswing Poker Party. Everyone's in there, and yeah, definitely had a good time. Are you planning to do anything like that in the future with maybe more get-togethers, or, you know, I know like maybe a tournament series or something like that?
Well, I know for sure we're planning on continuing to do a meetup every summer, because it's just, you know, as Upswing grows, and in the last like 4 or 5 months, we've just grown so much. We always want to have some kind of way that like we can interact with, you know, our fans or people that are in Vegas for the summer. So I imagine we're going to do meetups like that every year for as long as Upswing as a company. As far as anything more than that, you know, we may or may not have some stuff in the works, but nothing too final yet to be able to say.
Following on Twitch says, how many girls were at the party? Listen, check out the video I put up there. There was actually more girls than you might expect at the party. So
yeah, you wouldn't believe how many girlfriends and wives showed up.
Listen, Doug, I didn't want to tell them that they're all taken girls that were there. Well, there was a Korean mother there, so I guess they weren't all taken. But yeah, man, it was a good time. I had a lot of fun, and I look forward to next year. So I guess now, you know, after series ends, where are you at in life, man? What's the focus here? Are you still trying to claim best heads up no employment player in the world? Are you trying to claim best, like, where do you go from here now?
So as far as specifically a heads up goes, I really don't feel that there's a lot of room for me to grow in that space. You know, if I look at the last 2 years and maybe even 3 years, I guess I would kind of just say since the Sauce Challenge. If you look at that period of time, I've had very few opponents. And when I do get an opponent, they're like, okay, Doug, I'll play you a little bit of 25-50 just for a second here so that, you know, I can, I guess, just see what you're all about, maybe learn a thing or two, and then call it a session. But, you know, there's not like consistent action. It's not like very high stakes action. And now when people do take a shot at me, they've probably spent a lot of hours studying how I play.
Right.
And they're like really targeting me. So, you know, that while that's action that at least currently I'm still willing to play, that just gets less and less attractive as, you know, you move on. I think the biggest problem for me is going to be that I'm not planning on spending the fall in Vancouver this year. I'm planning on spending it in Las Vegas. I'm going to make some content here, going to stream in Las Vegas, going to, focus more on YouTube, focus more on UPswing, focus more on coaching, focus on all that stuff. Instead of, I think, really trying to battle it out at heads up, no limit, because frankly, I'm tired of just sitting there waiting. It just isn't very interesting. Also, if you look at the landscape of the high stakes games, I'm sure you saw the recent POLKerNews.
Wait a sec, Doug. You like heads up poker? Well, fuck you. That's
Yeah.
I love it. That was such a great line. Oh, it's so good. Listen, if you guys haven't seen the new POKERNews episode, so basically we'll get into more of this in a bit, but Doug recently did a video. He does a weekly series, comes out every single Wednesday, unless sometimes on Thursday, unless he's sick, then it's not going to come out. And the end of this segment, it's a 15-minute video. The last couple minutes was an advertisement, a fake advertisement for POKERNews, where they basically said it's hilarious. You got to check it out. It's on Doug's YouTube channel, right? All right, Doug?
Yeah, it's on my YouTube.
Yeah, you can find that. What is there a hot URL for that? YouTube.com/Doug Polk? Is that what it is?
Doug Polk Poker.
Doug Polk Poker. Yeah, check it out, guys. It's it's fucking funny.
It's good stuff. So I'm sorry. So what are we talking about? Heads up no limits still?
Yeah, you're basically talking about the landscape of what heads up no limits like these days.
Right. So when you look at heads up no limit, and I'm just gonna kind of list a site and then talk about what's happened to their heads up games. Party poker in the last few years, they used to have, and this is actually I guess more like 4 or 5 years ago to be totally fair, but they used to have 25-50, and they had the cream of the crop 25-50. It was the good 25-50, and actually they were ahead of their time in that they had a true king of the hill system. I think there was either 4 or 5 tables, and those tables were worth fighting for, because there would be people that would sit them and they would just blast off for just like however many thousands of dollars. And if you played the regs, you actually you wanted to hold those tables. Actually, Pimpy Limpy, or of Pimpy Limpy, right?
Of course, yeah.
This is how he made a lot of his money. He would hold down those 25-50 tables, and then battle regs occasionally, but mainly make a lot of money there. So that site basically closed down 25-50, and then I think they might have 10-20, but it's 6 max. I'm not sure if it's heads up, but
I believe they only go up to 5-10 right now.
They really crushed the heads up and the high stakes arena there. So party's done. iPoker used to have up to 200, 400 no limit. That was a thing. I actually played True Teller, some 200, 400 short on there, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. And they've just completely removed all of the higher stakes stuff and increased rake. So high stakes heads up is dead there. Microgaming, I think, still might have anonymous 5100, but I actually don't even know that for sure. And there's always been some sketchy stuff about microgaming. There's been some super user accusations, and there's like some sketchy stuff on microgaming that I can't say anything like concretely. I just know that like there have been some accusations in the forums and stuff, and especially when you don't know who you're playing on anonymous tables, I don't know. It's just a little bit sketchy for me. Is the only, but that's probably your best bet. I think on game's not even a thing anymore. I don't think 888 even has heads up tables. They don't. Full tilt doesn't have above 510 anymore, and full tilt basically just is stars now, right? And then on
full
top
of it doesn't exist anymore, correct?
Yeah. Doesn't exist anymore. There you go. And Poker Stars still has at the 5100, but they got rid of all of the non-zoom tables, increased rake at 25-50 by like 7x, and removed all rake back and made all of the tables zoom. So like, where are you going to play? Right. Where are these battles going to go down? I mean, you know what your best bet is actually? ACR. ACR still has 25-50 with like low rake. But other than that, like, where are you going to play? What is the landscape? And if it's gone this direction in the last few years, while on top of it, people getting better, is this really, the place that you want to be in like 2022? Probably not. So I guess I'm trying to kind of put down the gloves, so to speak. I mean, I'll still throw a few punches and get in the ring a couple more times. But certainly if we look at the landscape moving forward, I kind of want to transition into more tournament-based stuff and, live poker in general, I would say.
Woo! Tournaments and live poker getting me turned on over here, Doug, talking like that. Tournaments and live poker. What about the great game of pot?
Your 2 favorite things.
Douglas, what about the great game of Pot Limit Omaha that you've been playing a lot recently? I see you've been accepting it, you've been embracing it, you've been loving it. What about maybe playing more of the great game of Pot Limit Omaha? 4 cards instead of 2 for those people that don't know. It's a great game. There's a lot of action. It's how Durr got started off en route to the Manila games by PLO, I believe. So,
okay. Well, for starters, I've played PLO, I would say in the last couple of years, like as much or more than No Limit, certainly online. So maybe about equal. I'm not totally sure. And particularly last year, I actually played a lot of heads up PLO. I played a lot of 20-50. I actually won a couple 100K there. And then I played 5100 and did okay there. And then I got smashed at 100, 200 and somewhat 5100. So I like probably lost small in the air, broke about even. But you know, I've been in those streets. Here's the problem though, Joey. Those guys you're going to play are all really smart guys, and they're actually working on PLO. That or they've just done so much more work on PLO than me that I don't think I can hang with the best people unless I really like. I think if I just put my head down and I was like, that's it. In like 5 years, I will become the best PLO player. I think that I could certainly make a run for that. The problem with PLO is there's so much luck that even if you're the best, you know, I mean, it's just the way the game works. Even if you're the best, like you go through some shit, then you just won't become number one. But I think I can have a legitimate shot at that. But is that really what I want to do at this point in online poker with the way things are going, with the way rake is changing? I'll tell you who really got screwed with these high stakes rake back things is the PLO players, man. Rake is way more brutal in PLO. So many more flops.
Right.
So I just don't think that given that direction of things and given, you know, the potential for bots, is that really the way that I want to go? And I just don't think so.
So Doug, let me ask you a question here. So I want to get your opinion on this. A lot of guests we've had coming on the podcast recently talking about getting into some other things. These are a lot of high stakes guys that are used to making a pretty good amount of money from poker. And I think a lot of people out there are a little bit worried. They say, you know, oh, everyone's trying to get away from poker. But how feasible do you think it still is for people to make 50K to 100K, make some extra money, still be winning at poker at the micro stakes, small stakes, medium stakes online?
Well, I definitely think those games are still beatable. I think that the way that it works is when people are good and they're winning players, they move up in stakes, right? So while the overall player pool will continue to get tougher because people will get smarter, these games are still definitely beatable. And I'll tell you this, man, no matter how bleak online poker becomes, and I'm not saying I would use the word bleak at the moment for people that are playing small to mid stakes or want to move up, but no matter how bad they do become, and they will get worse over time, live poker will just always be soft because you actually have to be at that physical location. I know that sounds like a funny thing to say, but you look at online poker and you want to play 1K, 2K, oh, you have to have a computer and not be in America. Those are like that's the prerequisites to be able to play, you know, and of course the money. But if you want to play 1020 the Bellagio, you have to be at the Bellagio, right? So there's always going to be these live games where you actually have to be there, and because of that, the player pool will be way, way, way less tough. So I think maybe the skills will change a little bit moving forward from trying to have the highest skill level possible to learning a lot and getting better, but really working on your ability to find good games and have good game selection.
Okay, so what about from the 50-cent dollar guy's perspective, though? I mean, we talk about 10, 20, we're talking about the higher stakes. I mean, I think that's a unrealistic option and probably is forever for a lot of people that out there play poker. A lot of these guys are just thinking about, can I make it as a 50-cent dollar guy? Can I make $3,000 a month from poker sort of thing? I mean, I think that's probably some goals a lot of poker players out there have. Do you still think those are attainable with hard work?
I definitely think that even in today's climate, you can make several thousand a month in poker. I think even in today's climate, realistically, you can make 6 figures in poker if you work hard. I just don't think there's going to be as many people that will be able to climb the ladder and actually play the highest stakes. Because a lot of these games don't run anymore. Like, you know, even if you think about a few years ago, right, there was 400, 800 with Malaysia. You know, like that was the dream. Or years before that, there was 501K with what's his name, Guy Liberté, right? But those things don't really exist anymore. There's not really any of these really high stakes games going. And then also, there's not really much 20 by 50, 5100 going compared to before. Now, I think if you look at 20 by 50 no limit specifically, that game still runs a bunch. Still like, I still think we will see people 1,000 a year come up in poker in the next few years, 5 years. I just don't think we're going to see many, if any, people making 1 million plus when that used to be a thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think the top end of what's potential playing online poker is certainly less attainable by a smaller number of people these days. But I still think that there's still money to be made playing poker on the internet. And even with everything,
for sure,
if you put in work, there's still money to be made at the, at a $300,000 level. I think that's going to be pretty challenging for almost everybody out there. But I think it's still very attainable to become, especially if your job, if you have got a career that you don't enjoy, you're not making much money at, and poker's your dream, or poker's something that you're making money at right now and you really want to do more of, then I think it's something that people can still pursue and still attain. It's just not quite like it was back in the day. I mean, especially when I was coming up and Doug was staking me for 1-2 full ring and I was losing 30 buy-ins in a session. Back then, what happened was you lose some money. If you play 2-4, you could play 24 tables at 2-4. Then you drop back. If your shot goes bad, you drop back down and you just grind. You got 60 tables of $50 to play. A lot of good games in those games. You don't even know what you're doing at that point in time. And the landscape now, it's different. But I don't necessarily think that things evolve, strategies need to evolve, and I think we're just going to see that the harder you work, the more success that you're going to have, and especially now in this day, that's more true than ever.
Well, I mean, it's a mix of things. You have to look at the overall landscape. You look at how Rake changes things. You have to look at how the player reward systems have changed. You have to look at how tough games are. You have to look at what games are even available. I'm telling you this. There's no one that's going to really come up and heads up no limit in the next few years. Well,
that's because it doesn't exist. So it's hard. It's going to be impossible to come up.
But that's one less avenue people have to come up, right? So I would overall agree with you that I think the people that work hard and are smart and good players will still rise to the top. I just think as there are less avenues, it's going to happen less often.
Right. I mean, I doubt we're going to see many. Even if you look at PLO, if you look at on stars, really ain't many new names that made it up above 2.5. I mean, there's obviously a handful of guys, but there certainly isn't a large number of people. But just because you can't really shot take, because when you shot take, one, you're shot taking in really tough games, and two, when you lose, you got to drop back down to extremely tough games at 2.5 Zoom. So it's not as easy to get up there. And
yeah, I think you actually make a good point. Back in the day, one of the reasons, when I look at my journey through the stakes and heads up, right? One of the reasons why I was always fine to just take a shot at 25-50 against Kanu and then just get beat the fuck back down to whatever stake I was playing before, was that I knew that at 5, 10, 10, 20, there were going to be the wobbly AUs. They were going to be the, I guess I'm trying to think of people that I can call out that aren't still playing. But there would always be this stream of, bad regs, if you will, that will play you, lose money, and be okay with it. And now there's just no people willing to do that. No one's willing to just get a spanking at 10-20 and just suck there. When 5-6 years ago, people were totally fine being bad at 10-20.
For those that don't know wobbly AU, I actually have a video on my phone. Man, this was from, what was this from? 2009, 2010. I think we were in Vegas one year. It was me, Doug, and our buddy Fantastic Cow, Chris Willis Jackson, and I think Doug just won maybe, I don't know, how much money did you win from Wobbly AU? Because there was a toast. You guys were drunk. You made a toast. You said, thank you to Wobbly AU. I don't know if he bought a car for you. What was the deal with that?
The reason I have my house today is because of Wobbly AU. And basically, here's what happened. I'll give you the cliff notes on the story. So Wobbly and AU and I, we actually go way back to before poker. We both played Warcraft 3. And he was an Australian orc player, and I was an American orc player. And whenever we played, I would always lose. Okay, he was just better than me at Warcraft 3. And then we both started to play poker, and of course, I knew who he was, he knew who I was, and then we even further than that, we both played full ring. Okay, so we were always 24 tabling. I constantly had him on my tables, and vice versa, whatever. So one day, he was sitting at a heads up or full ring table, a starter table, and I sat and we started playing heads up. and we were playing 3-6, and I was like, you know what? This guy is really bad. Like, he's not just like kind of bad. He's like epically bad. Like, he doesn't understand how pre-flop works. He plays extremely tight pre-heads up. Post-flop, his strategy was, if I have top pair, raise the flop until like we are either all in or like somebody calls. Like, you know, we're talking 2009 heads up bad, right? And I was like, that's it. I'm just gonna put it all on the table here, and either I'm gonna beat Wobbly, because I knew he would play me, because like he had more money than me, he played higher stakes than me, he like thought he was the shit. We like had this history of battling before, and I was like, I'm going to play Wobbly, and I'm gonna play him at whatever stake I can barely afford until either I lose a bunch of my money or he quits me. And I'm just not going to do anything else because there's just too much money at stake here. So we played 3-6 every day. And every day, like, we started playing specifically heads up. And every day I would win like 3 to 5 buy-ins, right? And so after a few days, like, all right, we're going to play 5-10. Now I had some more money, so we'll play some 5-10. And then we did the same thing there. And then it was like, okay, now shit's going down. It's time for 10-20. And then the exact same shit went down there. And I actually think I crushed him for like the most buy-ins of any stake at 10-20. And then the next day, he's like 20 or 50 question mark. And I was like, holy shit, this is like I'm like, all right, let's do it. And I didn't have a lot of I didn't have a lot of buy-ins. But I was like, you know what? The spot's just too good. It's just simply too good to let this go. And we played 20 or 50. And I actually remember flopping a set of 3-bet pot with sevens like right out of the gate and stacking him. He just had like whatever pair. And then he was like, you know what? I will never play you again. And that was the final time I played Wobbly. But I mean, I won like, I don't know, like 100K or something. I'm not sure what the exact total was. And like at the time going into it, my bankroll was probably like 30 or 40K, you know? It was like, this was like life-changing money to me at the time. Like I like tripled my roll or something playing this one guy who just like didn't know how to play, but was willing to play me up to whatever stakes. And the thing is, there used to be a lot of guys like that, because you know what the sick thing is? Like when Wobbly played other people, despite opening 70 and defending 39, when he played other people, he was probably better than them, you know? And like when the ecosystem is like that, what happens is people are fine battling, because if you battle and you're worse than somebody, it's like not a big deal. A. Jones is just around the corner, you know? So I guess like the way that things have changed now, people are more aware of the landscape, and they know that if they're number 9, let's say, that they should sit number 8. They should never sit number 4. And they know who these people are, and they, you know, will download the hand, and they'll look up all their stats, and they'll make like calculated plays, and they'll lose like 3 buy-ins and then quit, and then they'll like go through the stats. It's like it's not like back in the day where people would just play each other, battle it out, and get fucked up. Like people died back in the day. They would die. Like they would just sit down at 20 or 50. And then like they get stuck like 15, 20 buy-ins, and then just be like, I'm not leaving here until I lose all my money. And then they would just lose all their money. That happened. That happened all the time. And now people lose like 3 buy-ins and quit. It's absurd. It's like so different.
Wow. Let's pour some out for our Wobbly. You guys, if I had some whiskey here, I'd pour one out for him. What do you think Wobbly is doing right now? Does he think he's still playing poker?
I mean, I assume not. I assume he's moved on to something else. I remember this after all of our battles, and he finally quit me. He'd still like talk a bunch of shit. I remember I found some picture of him where it was like he was playing Guitar Hero, like on a guitar, and I took it, and he was like talking shit in the forums about how bad I was, and maybe even accusing it of being jungle on my account. I don't even remember. And I took that picture and I crossed out Guitar Hero, crossed out Guitar. I put sit out, and then I changed all the player options to be like sit out pre, steal a blind, etc., and like posted that on 2+2. Oh, it was so good. It was so good. Just like all the shit talking was amazing.
I guess we still have some shit talkers out there right now. Dan Murr comes to mind as a shit talker. Yeah, anybody else that's really running their mouth? And I mean, at PLO, there ain't much chatter. Forums are pretty much dead now for the most part for PLO.
I think Dan Murr is really the only person talking shit, but he just doesn't back it up, so it's kind of weak. Someone in the chat actually was talking about A.E. Jones. I want to just tell a couple of A.E. Jones stories because I got a couple good ones here.
Sure, and let's hear. So for those that don't know, A.E. Jones, he's a longtime poker player, played a lot of heads up, made some, was involved with Deuce's was involved with Lego Poker training site, and now he's one of the DFS end bosses, and he was on the podcast earlier this year. All right, go ahead, Doug. Tell some A. Jones stories here.
So I saw this video, right? I saw this strategy video on whatever training site. I think it was probably
Lego Poker.
And he was talking about some hand in his coaching video. And he's like, well, this guy snap called my 4-bet. And A. Jones is really into timing, right? Really into timing, which is like a really terrible approach to poker. But he was super into timing. And he decided that, he said this. He said, if somebody snap calls your 4-bet, it's never actually a really good hand. It's never like aces or kings because they would at least consider 5-betting. Okay. So at the time, A. Jones was playing a lot of 29.50 and I was battling too. So I was like, okay, next time I play A. Jones and I have aces and he 4-bets me, I'm just immediately snapping. All right. You just have to. You have to. The reads. So we were like 250 blinds deep at 29.50. We're like 12K deep or 13K deep. He opens, I 3-bet aces, he 4-bets, I snap call. Okay. Just setting it up. Okay. And the flop is 10, 9, 4. And I check and he bets, and I decided to trap. I call. And the turn's a 2. And he goes, check, check. And the river is a 10. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to overbet jam here because he's just going to think I either have nothing or a 10. And I just ship in the rest of my money, and he tanks and calls me with king 2. And I was like, I'm so glad that I got that read from that video because that read was so good. Like, I know he's on the river like, oh, man, it's never hands like aces or kings. He, like, snapped the 4-bet. God, it was just so silly. And then another time when A. Jones was grinding down the ladder, he actually did the full thing. Like, he went all the way up to 29.50, and then he went down to 10.20, 5.10, 2.5, 1.2. He was eventually grinding 1.2, and I felt kind of bad. But when he was playing 5.10, I was kind of going up and he was going down. And he went through this phase where he didn't ever 3-bet pre-flop. It was like either flatted or folded in the big blind, which is amazing for the button because you get to always realize your equity, right? And I remember we had some hand where he flatted and opened with ace king, and then the flop had a king on it, and then it went check, check. And then the turn was like a brick, and he like, it was like a king high board, and it went like check, bet, check, raise, 3-bet, 4-bet, jam, call, and I had like a set or something. And I was like, ace king is absurd. It's absurd. But yeah, like people like that used to battle, man. There used to be more money. And now the landscape is just like, it's so barren.
Right. I mean, I guess a lot of things play into that part. Obviously, the rake changes, the country segregations. There's been so many things, the players getting better. I mean, there's a lot of, I really think, it's people are like poker's dead. I mean, really, it's just Americans can't play online poker. If Americans could play online poker, poker wouldn't be dead. I think that's sort of what it comes down to for the most part. What do you think?
If Americans could play online poker?
Americans could play online poker on a bigger, obviously now you can, sure, but if you could actually play online poker on a big site that was getting promotion, poker wouldn't be dead. I don't think poker's dead. From the World Series of Poker this year, poker did not look dead to me at all.
Are you familiar with a site named Bovada? No, I'm kidding. Basically, I think that if poker becomes legal in a big way, and really I think that means California. I heard some statistic about like how big California was in relation to all of online poker play pre-Black Friday. And I want to say it was like 35 to 40% of all break was produced by California.
Wow.
Something absurd. And so I feel like if California poker comes back, there will be like, not like a full boom because it'll be like within California, but there will definitely be some kind of poker boom there. And, who knows, I guess if it comes like back to America in a big way across the nation, if China got in the mix somehow, there are things that can happen that will make it better. But as it becomes more segmented and like fractured, and the companies that are at the top continue to prey on the fact that people have no other choices, I think we're going to see a continual decline of the overall ecosystem.
For sure. I mean, with the country segregation, it seems like every other day, every new day, they're pulling another country out of Poker Stars, whether it's Ukraine or obviously Spain, France. I mean, you got some of the countries with the biggest fun players of all time can't play on a mass scale, and the rake's so high. And some of these, country-specific sites.
Joe, are you saying some countries have more fun players than other countries? Oh man, that's a dangerous road.
You think so, huh?
I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, I'd say that for sure. I don't know, man. These man, I can't, man. How well? You think? I mean, do you really think poker will come back to the United States on some big scale? Maybe 4 or 5 years from now.
I think it totally depends on if people in power are going to make a lot of money or not. And if they are, then it will, and if they aren't, then it won't. I think it has nothing to do with what's right or what's going on or what the people want. I think that's just all bullshit. It's going to come down to like, does like Sheldon Adelson get a piece and like etc.
Yeah.
Basically, Joey, democracy is like what's going to happen.
Jacoby says, name drop the good and bad countries.
This is you. This is a Joey question.
Well, bad countries, America. Bad countries, Spain. Bad countries, Italy. Bad countries, France. Bad countries, hit and miss, Russia. Most of the Middle Eastern countries. Portugal, is that a good one or a bad one, Doug?
I'm not sure. I think Portugal might actually be good.
I think Portugal's kind of good too.
But Brazil.
Brazil, hit and miss.
Hit and miss. Joey, can you please tell me all the great Brazilian players that you know?
Verve Oasis.
Okay.
Felipe Ramos.
Okay. So you got two. That's good.
Yorubu.
Now you're not naming good people anymore. You're naming flippers.
Who's that soccer player? Ronaldo.
Nice.
Ronaldinho.
Neymar.
No, well, okay, you got me there. That's a good point. Good countries. Australia. I feel like Australia is pretty good. Finland, Sweden, Norway, Russia.
Yeah, I would say all the Scandi countries are pretty good overall.
Why do you think that? Why are the Scandinavians like? It doesn't seem to be really any fun players from those countries.
Well, there definitely are fun players from those countries. It's just like in the PLO realm, all the best players are Scandi. So you're just more familiar with the good players, I think.
Nah, that's probably true. Netherlands, I think Netherlands is a good country too.
True.
Germany, I think Germany. Obviously, Doug loves the Germans, so Germans are pretty good too. Yeah, we talked to Fedor about the Fedor bots that you mentioned on the WSOP main event show I did. Where you said Fedor has his bots, has his little minions of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like, what do you think about Fedor quitting, man? What do you think about him having all the tournament success and now ready to get out of poker?
Well, I think that we'll see to like what extent he really quits. Like, for like, as an example, like Dan Coleman just doesn't really make a big deal about things. But if you kind of look at what he did, Dan Coleman really kind of quit too.
Right.
He doesn't play any online poker, and he just shows up when there's like millions of dollars to be won. But so I think he'll quit in that same way Coleman did. But he's not like never going to play another poker tournament again,
Yeah, I think that's what he's saying. He's just going to quit the full-time grind and
I think that's fine. I mean, in some ways, lots of people are doing that, right? Like I've quit the full-time grind.
Right.
Who do you think is going to play more tournaments a year during Fedor's retirement? Me or Fedor?
Fedor.
So I mean, like, did I retire? I don't know. Like, the word retire is weird, and I think.
Wait a sec. Why are you grouping yourself in with tournaments?
I'm just asking. I'm making a.
Stop disrespecting yourself like that, Doug. You're not a fucking tournament player.
Oh, thank you, Joey.
Come on, man. That's just I can't. Come on, you can't be.
It's good to be on the pod.
You can't be disrespecting your goddamn self, putting yourself down like that, calling yourself a tournament player, man.
I didn't call myself a tournament player. I said, who's going to play more?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if there's a retired player who's playing more tournaments than someone that's not even a tournament player, I just don't think it's very retired. And
Brian
I think
go ahead.
Go for it. I was just going to say that I think there's lots of players who, after a lot of success, they like just did not play very much. Dude, what about Nicholas? Was it Heinecker?
Heinecker, yeah, he kind of retired too. You're right.
Coleman, Heinecker, like, there's a bunch of these guys that do this, and actually, I would argue Heinecker like straight up fucking retired. Like, has he done anything?
Is he involved in? Maybe he does some staking stuff, but I don't think he plays anymore.
He is completely not playing. I wonder when the last time he even played poker was. It's got to be a year or two. That's retiring, Right. I think saying like, oh, I'm retiring from the full-time grind and I'm still gonna play is kind of like, so what are you? I don't know. What are you really saying? I mean, it's definitely respectable to try and move on to something else if you feel like you've done what you need to do. And you know, I understand like wanting to play like the high value tournaments, particularly the high stakes tournaments, which is cool. Like that's honestly the best way to transition. But you're not like full blown retiring, you know?
Right. Did you see the recent tweet the other day? So podcast favorite by my buddy Luke, the Bad Beat Slayer, recently tweeted out a photo. He found Tom Dwan, aka Durr, aka #savedurrrr. He actually found him in Las Vegas. Is there some sort of bounty he gets now? Does he get a reward from UPswing Poker? I know you guys were looking for Tom Dwan.
He was in Las Vegas?
Correct. On Twitter, Luke posted a picture of him with Durr yesterday.
Wow, I didn't know he was here. I had no idea. We do not have a bounty on Durr's head, but I'm glad to know personally that he's safe. I saw the pic. He looked a little shooken up, but safe.
You haven't talked to him at all? You don't conversate with him?
I have never really talked much with Tom Dwan. To be honest with you.
You saw the video that you guys did about him?
I think kind of goes before that. You know, a lot of my friends had pieces of Jungle and the Jungle Durr challenge, and he scammed all of them by. I mean, I'm just gonna call it's a scam. Like, what happens is a scam. So, yeah, I generally don't talk with scammers too much.
You know, I still can't believe he didn't start. He never. He never finished the challenge. I mean, yeah, the challenge is still an ongoing thing, and he's never really said like, "Oh, I'm not going to finish it." He's always just said,
"Is it really an ongoing thing?" Is that really what it is? Because I feel like it's not. Full Tilt doesn't even exist anymore. What are they going to do? They're going to battle down stars? Come on, man. He scammed him.
Right.
It's a scam. If you promise to do something with a large amount of money, you know what's so fucked up? Telling Jungle to escrow to Ivy. Jungle sends his 500K, and then Durr doesn't send his 1.5 million to Ivy. And then they play the challenge, and then when shit goes down, he quits. And they're like, oh, surprise, not escrowed. That is so fucked up.
Right.
This is actually like, I know, you know what, like, honestly, to some extent, I know what happens when you make fun of people that are like Tom Dwan, that are like Phil Ivey, that are like Isildur, and you get attacked. But I really, and some of the fanboyism that I've seen defending Tom Dwan is it's just the best. Like, I love the people, and I think this was an actual viewpoint someone had in the forums. Well, you know, Tom Dwan taking 1.5 million there it's not nearly as bad as like stealing a few $100s from someone's wallet, because, you know, these guys are high stakes players and they have a lot of money, and Tom Dwan wanted to play the challenge, but then, you know, Full Tilt, and then, you know, the stuff went down, and it's not nearly as bad as like stealing some, and I'm just like, what are you talking about? He just stole 1.5 fucking million plus equity from someone, and then like you're gonna go on the forums and attack me for saying that's like a scummy thing to do. Give me a goddamn break. Give me a fucking break, Joey. Come on, do you with me here?
I mean, that's a good point. I mean, maybe it does make a lot of sense why he's never really posted since then. He's never said anything. I don't think he's even done an interview. I don't even know many people that have talked to him since that point. And it makes sense. I'm sure he is aware enough to realize that that's a pretty fucked up situation. And I don't know exactly why he hasn't tried to get out of that situation. My guess would just be maybe like he can't get backed for it, or doesn't have the money to play it. But it is really confusing why he just would avoid it completely. Obviously, he's still playing poker, and I think him and Jungle Man have played together numerous times since that point.
Well, I mean, what's he gonna say? What's he gonna say?
I don't know. I don't have the money. I mean, I'm not.
Is he gonna be like, oh, by the way, BT Dubs guys? Yeah. I mean, what is he gonna say? Honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's tough for me because, like, I just, like, I'm someone where I give you my word, it really means that, like, I'm going to come through. And, like, if I promise to do something or say I'm escrowing or whatever, then I'm going to uphold my end of the bargain. So it's kind of then hard to say, like, what would I do if I didn't? It'd be like, well, I would probably do the right thing and be like, I've made a mistake. I can no longer pay for this. And I'm sorry that I'm going to have to do this, but I'm not able to pay you. I've made mistakes, you know? And then I wouldn't say like, oh, it's just unfortunate that it went like that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, we'll I don't know if he ever comes back in the poker spotlight, man. I got to be honest with you. Maybe 5 to 10 years, but it doesn't. It seems like he's trying to stay out of it for an extended period of time here.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, he's definitely shying away from the public eye. I've not seen him playing the higher stakes stuff lately. It seems like he's been in America, right? I don't know, maybe he's moving on.
Hashtag save Tom, man. Tom Dwan was one of the first exciting poker players on television. So I think people get lost in that nostalgic of Tom Dwan on TV. Okay, did you watch a lot of televised cash game poker, Doug?
I watched, I would say I watched a fair amount.
It seemed like Durr ran better than anyone I've ever seen in my entire life at online poker cash games. Every spot where he 3-barreled massive as a bluff, every time he had it, it seemed like he just ran so good and really never got caught in any situations with some of these hands.
Wait, someone ran good in poker? We got to alert the media. Here, we got to get this on the cast. I'll do a POLKerNews episode on it. Like, come on, man. I mean, it's poker. Like, people are going to run super hot sometimes.
In fact, think anybody ran better than him?
Joey, I'll say this: if Tom Dwan didn't run that hot, okay, you wouldn't even be talking about him right now. That's another fucked up thing about poker. The people that you talk about, you only talk about because they ran hot. It's like a prerequisite to have the conversation, because you know who never gets talked about? All the guys who ran bad their whole careers. And I'm not talking about Phil fucking Hellmuth. I'm talking about people that actually spent their career running badly and then quit. In some ways, and I guess I would say the people that ran the least hot overall are like the guys who grinded up in cash online. Like, there was just no % chance OTB wasn't going to become a great player, There was no chance that Jungle wasn't going to become a great player. There was no chance that Sauce wasn't going to become a great player. These people were always going to become great players. But the live poker players, the tournament players, the guys that, and this is kind of more the category that Durr's in, but the guys that had the money and the balls to just jump into those Guy Liberté games when they were going off at Rail Heaven, those guys put themselves in a serious position to run hot as fuck. Because if they ran hot in that game, it was so many millions of dollars, so many millions. And if you look at Tom Dwan's online career, at least across tracked PokerStars, Full Tilt Poker sites, he's actually up more money on Guy than he's up money.
Interesting.
So if you took away Guy, he would actually be down. And I mean, it kind of makes sense because he got raffle stomped by Isildur, which is, by the way, in my book, the Isildur crushing Dwan and then losing it to Hastings is the most epic thing that has ever happened in online poker, right?
Why is that?
Because just the amount of money that just changed hands. And
was
just
it
the fact that
$4.something million he lost to Hastings?
He lost something like that, yeah. But I think he actually won more than that off Durr. I think he lost some to Antonia, some to Ivy. God, man, I wish I was playing that high back then. Fuck, dude, you know how sweet that would have been? Log on and just battle against some dude no one knows at 501k while he's 4-tabling Ivy and Antonius and whoever. God, sign me up. That would have been so sweet.
You ever think anything like that will exist again in online poker?
No, because people aren't that irresponsible. No one's gonna. Okay, so for starters, I doubt anyone will ever win 4 million in a day in online poker again. I hope I'm wrong, but I doubt that will ever happen again. And then if it does happen, that person's not gonna be like, you know what? I actually also like PLO, and then they're gonna just blast off 4 million in the PLO.
Right.
There's just no chance.
Yeah. Oh well, I'm gonna stop thinking about the old days, man. Now you're a businessman, Doug. Anyway, so maybe in the business world,
I'm a business.
Maybe there's a heads-up business you can do or something like that.
There is.
Is there anything like that in business? Is it what's the drive for you in getting into business here then, outside of just the money?
I guess you just talk about what I'm doing day to day now, kind of where my career is transitioning. I'm just someone that when I get deep in the game, I love games. I'll open with that. I love competitive stuff. I love games. I love When I was really young, I loved chess. The moment that I found out,
Wait, how young were you when you started playing chess, Doug?
like 4 or 5 years old.
Holy fucking okay.
Yeah. So my dad would do this thing where like we'd play chess, and when I was really young, he'd play without like 2 rooks until I could beat him, and he'd play without.
You and your dad played chess.
Yeah, we played a lot of chess.
Okay.
And then we'd play like he'd be missing 1 rook, and then he'd be missing a knight, and then like maybe a couple pawns, and then like eventually we played full strength, and then eventually I could beat him there, which was great. And that was like by the time I was like 8 or 9. I'm sure he felt proud. Or so maybe
8 or 9 years old, you're finally able to beat your dad in a chess match.
Yeah, and then he started copying my openings. Anyway, we're going down the history of me playing my dad in chess, but I've always loved strategy stuff, just to my core. And I remember when StarCraft 1 either came out or was just getting big or whatever. And I remember when I was like, holy shit, I can play against other people on the internet in one-on-one StarCraft. And that concept was just like amazing. Like I could do it at home on my computer, right? And then I got into like all the like kinds of video games. I remember getting into Halo. I remember getting into all this shit. And I loved it, man. I loved the competitiveness of it. I just absolutely loved that. And so when I moved over to poker finally from Warcraft 3, Heads Up really suited me the best because it's one-on-one. It's the most skill format. There's so much you can work on, so much you can learn, so much you can get better at. And I really gave everything I had to that for several years. And one thing that I've found the last like 2 to 3 years, which, you know, I've obviously been the most successful years of my career in terms of like how much money I've made and that kind of stuff. I've actually really found that I kind of lost the passion to like become really great at something, because the thing that I loved the most, I had become the best at. And now I was like kind of waiting for like the next thing to happen, and then it wasn't really happening because I was still just in poker. And late last year, when I was talking with Ryan Fee and Matt Coletta about starting UPswing Poker, I started to get really excited about this because this was like a new undertaking. It's like a new game I'm gonna get to play. And then when I started thinking about it even further than that, really what I'm trying to do now is get my name out there, make good content. Like I want to have a YouTube channel that has a lot of great content people like. I want to have a Twitch stream that people like. I want to be doing stuff on Snapchat. I want to be posting on Facebook and Instagram. And all of these different avenues are ways that I can now try to play this game. It's like a new game. It's like a game where like I'm trying to give good content and build a fan base and like give people what they want and like make my name in poker in terms of just like my reach and what I'm doing with my content. And it's a new game now. And I have this like new passion and fire and love for it that I've not felt in anything for the last few years. And I'm just really happy to have an opportunity to have that back.
What a speech, Doug. What a speech, buddy. I like that a lot. Very very in line with the presidential debates speeches happening now. I like that.
Oh yeah,
so
and
now,
I want to be president one day. You heard it here first, man.
Are you sure? Noah Schwartz in the last podcast said he wanted to be president in 2020. I'm pretty sure he's being serious.
Well, 2020 is too soon. I'm not even going to be eligible.
So I was mentioning this to you. I think we talked about it briefly on Skype, and maybe actually didn't respond to this one. But I was talking about making poker great again, Doug. Hashtag make poker great again. Do you think that we can do something to help make poker great again out there?
I think, honestly, Joey, I think we both already do that, right? Look, honestly, if you look at what we do, there are not many content creators in poker.
Right.
There really are. We were actually discussing this yesterday. There are not many content creators in poker. And if you look at like, I would actually say that I think what you do with your cast is, I think it's the best at getting people that are interested in poker kind of like deeper into poker, right? Because you bring on all of these people from different walks of like life, from different areas of poker, and they get to like explain who they are and talk about what they're doing. And I think you really help like pique people's interest in poker, in what's going on in the community. And I think that that's great for poker, man. I think that like what I do is a little bit more recreational player based, especially with like UPswing Poker being more about recreational players, small stakes players. And I'm more like the no limit side of stuff, I guess, compared to like doing a PLO. I think what we both do is great for poker. I think the more people that are out there creating good content, trying to promote poker, you know, but not in like a bullshit way, like telling it like it is, you know, like I'm not, look, I'm not going to be here and hold your hand and be like, poker's getting softer, guys. Everything's getting easier, you know, like, but like keeping it real and like telling people the truth about what's out there in poker, but still focusing on the positives of the community. That's what's making poker better.
Yeah, I think what you mentioned about people creating content, I think if you look at it from like a YouTube perspective, a lot of people who make YouTube videos in other genres, they don't like, you know, like you need to be kind of good at poker to want to make a video sort of thing. Otherwise you're losing at poker. You just don't know. You can't talk about poker if you don't know how to play poker. You can't make a poker related video if you don't really know what poker is. And most people that are good at poker are trying to make money. Once they start making some money, they want to make money from it. They don't really want to, you know, do YouTube stuff where you're really not going to make much money for a very, very long time, if ever. And I feel like that's a big reason why you just don't see many people doing much stuff. It's a lot of people, if they're tournament players, they're playing tournaments, they're traveling, they're doing all that stuff. They just don't see the value in this other stuff. And honestly, there just might not be a lot of value when it comes to this. Maybe, you know, it might take years to realize your equity in some of these spots. And even then you might not, you know, you just don't see the reason for it.
I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I'm for sure going to make less money with what I'm trying to do now than what I would make if I just like committed to some other area of poker, for sure. I'm going to make less money. I'm going from being like the best at something to being like kind of a noob, you know? I'm just taking like a bunch of steps down and like trying to learn stuff. Like I'm doing YouTube videos, Joey. I'm doing YouTube videos.
I mean, not really. You have an actual asset of business, a website that is going to be around for a very long time too. I mean, the YouTube is sort of just an extension of that for the most part.
No, for sure. Look, I'm not saying that it's not going to go well. Like I'm trying to make money. I own part of a business. Like that's the goal. But what I'm saying is that, do you think I'm really making as much, you know, per hour than if I just like completely sold out, tried to coach as many people as I could, tried to get like really into high stakes mixed games, just spent all my time playing poker? I would say no. I would say my expectation there is much higher. But the thing is, like, I don't have the love for that. I don't have like that's not what I want to do. That's not where I want to be in 5 to 10 years. Like, I want to be a content creator. I want to be doing stuff from more of the, you know, helping poker as, I'm not trying to think like the way that I want to word this, but I want to be more on the content creation side of things rather than being a poker player, because I don't want to play poker for the rest of my life, you know?
Mm-hmm. Obviously, I can relate to when it comes to feeling like that. But I think for you, I would argue that your long-term potential is actually probably higher getting involved with things like this, because once you're proficient in projects in the business world, you realize that that's how people actually make. I mean, if your goal is to make a lot of money, that's the way people are making a lot of money. Most people aren't making a lot of money through playing poker. They're making money, but they're not making actual money when it comes to, you know, the business side of things.
For sure. And one of the ways I even put that is like the ceiling is so much higher, you know, like if you get into, you know, marketing and owning companies and, you know, working in different spaces online, you can actually make a shitload of money. And it would be awesome if one day that's what I can do. But what I'm saying is that at the same time, just like coming into something and being like, oh yeah, I'm going to be like the biggest thing ever, is like, that's just like, you can't look at it like that, because you're probably not. It's like the same thing when people get into poker. You're probably not going to become OTB Red Baron, right? You're probably not. But it doesn't mean you can't work hard and try to do well with what you do and love what you do. So yeah, I'm going to try and continue to build UPswing Poker, try and increase people's brand awareness of me and my company. But I really just want to try and focus on playing the game, because that's what I love to do.
I guess I never look at it as a game. I look at it as I don't know. I've never looked at it as a game. I kind of like that outlook on things. Obviously, you know, I don't look at things as a game. I just kind of click buttons when I operate, for the most part. Oh,
I thought you were talking about poker. I'm just kidding.
Bang bang! Come on, kid.
No, I'm just kidding. You don't. Neither one of us play tournaments. We can.
Fucking tournament poker, man. So I guess the plan here moving forward for yourself this year, you're gonna be streaming a lot. What are you gonna be doing here?
So kind of my goal right now is to do a bunch of different stuff and see what really works for me. Like, I've done a lot of streaming, particularly during Scoop. I'm going to do a bankroll challenge hopefully starting in a couple weeks. I'm still trying to like hammer some stuff out, but I'm gonna do some kind of bank goal challenge on Twitch. I'm gonna do a bunch of YouTube content. I'm gonna do POLKerNews. I'm gonna create UPswing poker content for our customers. So I guess I have a lot of different things that I kind of have in the works. And I definitely want to keep trying to do stuff like Snapchat, maybe even try and do some stuff like Periscope, obviously Twitter, Facebook, all this, Instagram. Basically, I just want to like kind of get out there and do everything and then see where I'm getting the most growth, see what people are enjoying the most, see what I like the most, and then make some decisions once I feel like I'm more knowledgeable about like all the avenues. But I don't want to just like be like, I'm going to do this thing and then like, not do that. I want to get out there and try everything and see what I like to do.
Sounds like a pretty good plan, Poppy. Sounds like a pretty good plan. Get some shout outs here real quick. Who we got in the chat? I know I saw Big Dick Donger Kim in the chat. What's up, Big Dick Donger Kim? Poppy, throw your Big Dick Dongers up, man. What's up?
I didn't even see him in the chat.
Yeah, Big Dick Donger Kim was in the chat. Unless there's another person I'm pretty sure that's his name. I saw him. I saw my buddy Quentin Husky Mudkips in the chat. I saw J Mo in the chat. Jeff, what's up, Jeff? Poppy. Doug's Snapchat is highly entertaining. Binks. Yeah, that's debatable. 7 Nocturne 7.
Oh.
You want to be okay? Let's talk about this. So you think your Snapchat is entertaining right now?
I think it's good.
You're like a married guy, bro. Like it's not. No married guy is fun to follow on Snapchat.
You're thinking about this all wrong, man. Like, okay, so Snapchat isn't supposed to be like these other platforms where it's like super polished and really high. Every snap is like awesome. Like I mean, you watch Gary Vee's Snapchats, right?
Right.
Are they good?
Yes.
They're not good. On average, they're not good, man. There's lots of just like, I'm at the airport, just like stuff like that. He does that like he does like a snap being at the airport probably like every day.
Well, he's traveling a lot. That's what he's showing. He wants to show that he's traveling and he's getting out.
Well, like he'll do a snap in the morning where he'll wake up with like a picture of his face, like the time. He does that a bunch. You're just viewing it differently because he's someone that's successful at it, and like I'm just starting. Snapchat is supposed to.
I don't know, look, man. Like it's your fucking cat. You and me and Caitlin are going to a grocery store buying some cheese puffs. Like it's come on, man. It's not. Come on,
bro. No carbs. But anyway, the way that the Snapchat is it's much more raw and it's much more like just day-to-day stuff. Like, okay, if I'm like look, I know that it's not the most interesting thing ever to see like Binks drinking like a drink at Starbucks. Okay. I know that's not the most interesting thing ever, but like that stuff's fun. Or if like I take a snap of playing poker, or I take a snap of driving somewhere, or I just like want to talk to my followers about something, or I get all in and I take a snap of it. Like all this stuff, like I know to you those are boring things, but you have to think about to like people on Snapchat, they appreciate that. Or like when I opened up my Snapchat to like take Q's and A's, I've done that several times, and like answer everyone's questions or post them on my story. People like that stuff. I think you're just like thinking about it for your personal enjoyment. Like, do I personally like what Doug's doing? Well, you probably don't really care that much, But to the average person, like they do care, and like I get so many comments from people on my Snapchat. They just love to follow it because they just want to see what I'm up to every day.
Okay. Cat. All right. I'm learning here, Poppy. I'm learning. I think there's a couple people I follow on Snapchat that I like. What do I like about them? I like LaFord on Snapchat. LaFord's good on Snapchat. He just doesn't. Now it's golf's taking over some shit like that, so it's not as fun. But it used to be more fun. There's a girl who always posts workout selfies. I like that. I actually don't like many people on Snapchat, so maybe I just don't like Snapchat. Maybe I just don't give a fuck what most people are up to on it.
You probably don't like Snapchat. I mean, honestly, I'm straight up. I kind of don't get it. Straight up. Like I wasn't even on Snapchat 3 months ago. But like if you look at the demographic of people that are, on Twitch or who are watching or who are consuming this content that I'm creating, they're on Snapchat. So it would be stupid for me to not use Snapchat. It would be a huge leak in my overall strat, right? So, I started Snapchat and I had to get used to it. Like I've only done it for a few months. I'm sure I'll get better over time. But like you have to create content. Like you can't just have Snapchat and then not create content. That's like super boring.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'll point this out. Kakaman has the best Snapchat game of all time. See, you know what makes his and this is going to tell you about what my Snapchat preferences are, Doug. He's been in Vegas now for, I swear to God, 7 weeks. And he basically will send me snaps every single night of all the women that he's talking to, that he sees, the things that he's doing. When he's back in a hotel with a woman, he'll send me Snapchats of what's happening. And I find that highly entertaining, as he like puts really funny quotes along the way.
You're
like
on Snapchat for like women, it's just like,
no, he's a guy. He's a guy. He sends
I
pictures
know,
of
but you're basically saying, Doug, I like his Snapchat because there's like tits on it. Like that's
no, there's not tits. It's entertaining. The quotes. He's like, this mamacita is gonna get the little papito tonight. I'm just like, what the hell is this guy? It's hilarious, man.
I mean, I'm telling you, man, like when I was at the Rio snapping every day, I'd be walking down the hall and people would be like, Doug, keep up those Snapchats, man. I'm telling you. Or like when you get all in a tournament and like you actually can snap it, the average person is going to think that's interesting. The average person just wherever and like doing their thing, like, oh, and they click and they just click on all and they just see me yelling for a queen of clubs on the, you know, whatever. Like the average person's gonna like that. You can't look at it like look, I'm not doing my Snapchat to like make like my friends that play higher stakes happy. You know, if I was doing that, I would have a totally different Snapchat. JMO makes fun of me all the time for how like bad he thinks my Snapchat is. Like, don't get me wrong. But the thing is, like, to the average person, like, for example, the other day I was locked out of my house, okay? And so, by the way, extremely annoying. But I was locked out of my house, and I had, like $1,200 on me. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go play 1-2 at the South Point, okay? And I bought him for $300 and started grinding. And I took some snaps of it, and I know that any of my friends that are actually playing high stakes are like, come on, Doug, 1-2 snaps, give me a break. But like the amount of feedback that I got from other people, like, oh man, you're playing my stakes. Like, yeah, that's what's up. Like, let me know how it goes. Like, people were seriously fucking pumped up because like they play 1-2. You got to put yourself in the shoes of like your fan base and like what they want to see and like what their lives are like. And like, you know, make content that also caters to them. Like, yeah, I do some snaps that are good of like me with a bunch of money or me actually doing something cool or me doing something funny. But then you can't make every snap up to this like super high bar of content because then you're just not going to snap. It's way better to snap like a bunch of times with like some, you know, snaps that you would view as like not that great, but just like are still content than to just not snap. Also, it disappears, dude. 24 hours is gone.
Thank God it does, because I've snapped some of the most out-of-line things of all time. I got someone was eating chicken fingers off my naked body in a bathtub, but during PCA on there. Numerous, whatever, man. Listen, I'm trying to be more honest now. Okay, now it makes sense. You're playing the game, Doug. You're playing the game.
I'm playing the game.
So it's a part of the GTO strategy, is what you're trying to say.
It is. It is absolutely.
Okay. Let me take some questions from the chat, guys. What you guys got for Doug today, man? What you guys got for Doug? What's Tom do on Snapchat? No fucking idea. Not gonna lie, I just added Doug on Snapchat. Good. What's your Snapchat, Doug? What is it? At Doug Polk Poker?
No, it's WCG Rider. And JMO's is Clink 10K.
Clink 10K. Mine is Joinger 1. And that's all I got. What's up, my buddy Jonah Puppy? What's happening, man? Who's Doug voting for this election? Jackson wants to know.
So I never voted before, but I kind of want to vote out of principle. If I had to, so first off, Trump is like the worst ever. I don't really want to go too deep into politics, but like, bro is just crazy. And so if Hillary, let me put it like this: if Gary Johnson had a shot to win, I would vote for Gary Johnson because he is by far the most reasonable person and fiscally liberal, socially liberal, fiscally conservative is just like by far the best strat IMO. But the thing is, I would never like vote for someone that actually couldn't win. So if he doesn't get to 15% and get on the debate stage, I would vote for Clinton.
What do you think about all the politics talk here on Poker Twitter?
I think it's terrible. And I think if you look at, like, for example, Negreanu, who's decided that this is like the most important thing for him ever. Negreanu has a huge Twitter account and it's always growing, but it hasn't been growing for he actually has lost 1,000 followers. Interesting. He has a huge Twitter account and it's always growing, except for the last like month or so. He's been slowly like breaking even or losing followers because people don't want to hear all this like goddamn bullshit about like Donald Trump. So it's a terrible strat. It's also annoying content. You are always going to alienate about half the people. And it's just pretty boring as well.
Don't you think people aren't always thinking about it in context of that, though? They're not always thinking about losing followers, gaining followers, this or that. They're just thinking about they want to express their opinion and express themselves.
It's funny because like I almost want to just say like if you want to express yourself, find a different place for it than social media, which is just like actually like kind of funny because I feel that way. I don't know, man. Like it depends on what you want to do. Like obviously Negreanu is totally cool saying things that are just not true or saying things that are like super over the top or just saying things that are. He's just fine saying things. We almost put this clip into the POLKerNews, but we decided not to. There's some clip of Daniel Negreanu where he like does blackface and like pretends to be Jamaican. Have you seen this clip?
I've seen that, yeah.
And I was looking at that and I was like, I cannot believe someone decided to do this. Like how when he was recording that, he was like, you know what? This is going to be a good idea. Like, how do you do that? It's absurd. So he's always like someone that's very outspoken and doesn't really care that much. But the thing is, like, it depends on what your goals are. If he views it as like Trump winning is like the worst thing that could possibly happen, then yeah, he has a moral obligation then to lose followers by being way too pro-political on Twitter. But personally, like I just don't feel strongly enough to take to the streets. Also, like I don't know, like whose mind do you really change when you do this stuff? Like, when do you ever get into an argument about politics or religion or whatever? And then the other guy's like, you know what? You're right. I'm actually going to go with you on this one. How often does that happen?
Never heard that happening.
It never happens. And it's like, it's similar to like when someone hits me up asking for money. Like, hey, Doug, can I get just 5K? It's like, oh, yeah, sure, bro. Let me know where to send. Like, I mean, like, why do these things that have like no % chance to work? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, Labik says maybe that's what he feels, though. I'm sure that's what he feels. I agree. I mean, I kind of like the politics talk on Twitter because I've followed politics more this year than ever before. So but at the same time, I like. What'd you say?
So where are you at? What are your thoughts on the politics going on? Or we can talk about it for a second.
I don't really have a strong opinion on either side. I'm enjoying railing it and listening and learning more about it. I've never really followed politics at all. So this is like the first year for me ever.
Interesting.
But these guys, yeah, they do get really, really intense and into it on Twitter. It's I've had to mute a lot of them. Let's just say that for now. And
like some of these polls that Negreanu does like are just so bad. Like there was one poll, and I'm scrolling through his Twitter right now to try and find it because of how absurd it was. But it was like something like if a black candidate had 3 wives and 5 children or something, would you look at them differently than a white candidate? And like the poll was just like yes or no. Here we go. Question of the day. If a black candidate had 3 wives and 5 kids, would he be judged any differently than a white candidate? And for starters, like I guess what I would say is he saying a white candidate with 3 wives and 5 kids? Or is he just saying like a black guy with 3 wives and 5 kids and just a white candidate? Like, what is this poll? Like, why would you post this on Twitter?
You've put 20 seconds more thought into any poll than I've ever put in any thought in any of the polls I've seen. So I don't know.
God, Joey. All right, man.
I don't know, man.
You can't.
I don't know. I don't think much about the polls.
You got to be a stickler here.
I don't think much about the polls.
That's a terrible poll. That's a terrible poll.
I see them. I scroll through. I don't. Sometimes I vote. I mean, I like voting sometimes. But guys, I'm making a list on Twitter. You can find it on my Twitter page. I'm making a list of people to follow in poker, and it's going to be politic free. So it's going to be a list. You can find it on my Twitter page. I'll put the link in the YouTube description below. And this will be the list. If you want to keep up with what's happening, you can follow this list. It'll be free of politics. Anyone talking politics on the list, I'm going to take them off the list. It's just a no politics talk. You want politics, check your regular timeline. You want no politics, put this list on there. So a question I saw on Twitter was, do you know any players that you play in ACR, America's Card Room?
I don't.
Don't know any of them in real life?
No, I think actually Fees knows a chunk of them, but I don't really know them.
How's your experience been playing on that site so far?
It's been interesting. I mean, I've played an ACR for the last like several years. It's always been good, man. Games are good. Rake is low. I've enjoyed it.
Would you recommend Americans plan some of these non-something sites. These
I mean,
sites.
I obviously can't come out and be like, you guys should play on this site that's like not like completely regulated or regulated at all or whatever. So I guess I can't say that, but I would say that its games are better than most sites. And like from being in America, it's definitely the best place to play. Maybe Bovada, I guess, but you can't even play that in Las Vegas. So I mean, my options are like WSOP or ACR basically. So it's the short list, man.
You can't play Bovada in Las Vegas?
I think they've banned it from Nevada. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I believe you cannot play it in Nevada.
Sure.
Someone in the chat can back me up. I think you cannot.
Well, I gotta say, I'm pretty sure that's false. But yeah, that's it. Let's see, man. What other comments we got here? So you're gonna be streaming here in a little bit. I think someone the Upswing Poker account said on Twitch. Let me see. Bovada owns ACR.
Yeah, you cannot play Bovada in Nevada or Delaware.
All right, so let's assume that we're gonna recommend, because I mean, a lot of Americans are always asking where do they play? Where should I play online poker, Bovada or ACR? So what do you think about the two options that are available to Americans to play?
I would say, I think if you're a very good player, I think ACR, because it has higher stakes and heads-up tables, and it does get some higher stakes action. If you are a lower to middle tier player, I would say Bovada.
So even with the rake back that you get on ACR compared to no rake back on Bovada, you think at the micro stakes and smaller stakes and lower stakes that where do you think?
I mean, Bovada is absurdly soft. I've seen some people play in Bovada. It is ridiculous. You know what I'm talking about, Joey. You know what I'm talking about.
I agree.
So I would say that if you're a great player, I would say ACR. And if you're a lower to mid-tier player, I would say Bovada.
Yeah, I think I got to agree with that.
You agree with that? Okay.
I think I agree with that. I mean, just from the games I've seen on ACR, like there's regulars playing the 25-cent, 50-cent games. There's at PLO and No Limit, whereas on Bovada there just isn't. So I'm not sure why, but
let's turn the table here a little bit, Joey. What have you been up to lately? Take me into the life of Joe Ingram 1. You know, hitting the courts at 2 a.m. for the basketball sesh. What is your sleep schedule even like? It seems like you're just awake at random periods of time. Take me into the life.
Well, I after this no masturbation prep that I made with Fedor Holes on the podcast, my life's changed a little bit because I have to start. I have to actually. Having sex for me it helps me. It makes me lose my focus. So when I'm having sex, I'm not focused in on what I'm doing because that you spend time with the person. They stay at your house for a long time and it's fun, but you can't really get other things done. So ever since the prop bet, I've had to start balancing that in. I've been working out pretty hard. I've been working out pretty much every day. Been really keeping track of my diet pretty hard. Trying to get back on track from Vegas still. I've been trying to think about, the podcast and what I'm going to do with poker, if I'm going to still play poker, what idea I'm going to do. And I actually talked to you about an idea I had the other day. And I posted a little bit of it in the Facebook group. And I wasn't going to talk about it on the podcast because it's still like formulating in my head. But yeah, I think the idea that I'm coming up with is that's what I'm going to be pursuing. We got the potential PLO Upswing lab that's in the works right now too, that me and Ryan Fee are sort of working at. And honestly, it's just kind of trying to figure out what exactly I want to do. If I want to stay here in Chicago, if I want to move out to California, if I want to go, I've got some offers to go to some events one event's in Malta, the Battle of Malta. I think one is in something in Calgary. What do you say?
Sorry, what is the Battle of Malta? I don't know what that is.
Yeah, Battle of Malta is an event that's in Malta. That's all I know about it. It's like a tournament series sort of thing.
It? I mean, like I don't even know. It's a poker thing.
Yeah, it's a poker thing. It's a tournament series. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Also, what is this? What is this masturbation prop bet?
So me and Fedor made a bet where he bet $9,000 to my $3,000. I can't masturbate for the rest of the year or watch porn.
All right.
What, you don't think that's a good bet?
So you had a problem.
Did I have a problem? I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know if it's a problem. Is it a problem?
Is it a problem? I have no idea, but it was a problem.
Yeah, it seemed like it would be a good challenge. It seemed like it'd be a good way to do another prop bet. I haven't done any prop bets in a while. You know, I love prop betting. Shout out to you, by the way, for getting me started on my prop bet career with your inspiring prop bet that you did. I mean, it's so sick. We're never going to see people don't even understand how great it was to prop bet back in the day. Doug did one of the sickest prop bets of all time. He tried to win 400 buy-ins in a month at NL25. That spawned my whole entire prop betting career of all the ones that I've done. And you don't see anything like it anymore. So I wanted to do this prop bet because I just thought it'd be kind of fun, even though it's not fun, but I thought it'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, it is stressful too. It's not just like a walk in the park, you know? Like throwing down all day, every day grinds is stressful in a prop bet. And we're never going to see anything like that again because I think people have kind of like overall lost their appetite to take part in them.
Yeah, I'm not sure why, because one, they're a good way to test what you really fucking got. They're a good way to build confidence in yourself that you can take. I mean, honestly, you can take into, I mean, from doing some of the bets I've done in the past, like my confidence in doing almost anything, if I put my time to it, I put hours into it, I'm pretty confident I can do almost anything because of some of these things that I've been able to do in the past that just required this ridiculous amount of effort and heart here.
So I'm going to do a prop bet where I have to try and turn it wasn't going to be a prop bet. It was going to be a bankroll challenge where I'm going to turn $100 into 10K in a month. What do you think if I made that a prop bet as well? You think that would make it bigger?
I don't think anyone's going to bet against you. I mean, maybe some of the guys on Twitch will for fun, but I don't like no one logical is going to bet against you doing that.
Well, what if there's like a time frame, obviously, like 1 month?
I mean, I think you're like a big favorite to get there.
All right. So basically, like I don't know, like 110K, that's like 100xing your money. I
feel like once you get to 1,000, you're pretty much going to get there.
In a month, though, it's like, I don't know. Maybe this could be a good bet.
I mean, I would never bet against you in that bet in my entire life. What sites like?
All right.
What sites would you be playing in this situation? Just all cash games or any tournaments or what?
I mean, if it's like this, if I'm going to do a bankroll challenge and it's not going to have a bet on the side, I'm going to take it a little more casual and I'll just try and play in like the most convenient place to play it. But like if I actually had like a legit bet going, I would have to play like the best place to play, right? I mean,
right.
Which is probably stars, I guess. Probably.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't. I don't know. I don't see that being like hard for you to do at all.
Damn.
I mean, think about it. What are you gonna? So I mean, it'd be funny.
A lot of confidence.
It'd be funny to see. Listen, I got a kid who I don't even know anyone I got more confidence in than you. First of all, so let's get that out of the way. Second of all,
oh, thanks.
You know what do you? So let's think about what would be the logical way to do that. So you have $100. You're probably going to start off playing. Probably going to start off playing 1 cent. No. 2 cent, 5 cent, or 5 cent, 10 cent. 2 cent, 5 cent, right?
No, I would not do cash.
What would you do?
Sit and goes or tournaments. Like, dude, like the rake is the rake as a comparison between sit and goes and tournaments at like the micros. It's way better to play sit and goes in tournaments. I would play like $1 heads up sit and goes, or like I would play like $2 tournaments or $1 tournaments. I get my grind on, bro.
You know what? I think you should make the prop bet at cash. I think that makes it a better bet.
And a harder
bet.
I think it would be a way harder bet in cash.
Right, I think so too. But think about it from a tournament perspective. If you bink one of those tournaments, I mean, then you're at 1,200. Like,
you realize it's hard to bink tournaments, right?
Not for you, man. You're one of the best. Come on, kid. You're one of the best.
Maybe.
I mean, heads up sit and goes, especially. Like, that's obviously you play. You may have a little edge there.
I bet you that people. I actually think I'm an underdog to do 100 to 10K in a month. By the way, I think that's a serious challenge. I think I'm an underdog. You realize it's 100x the money.
I mean, listen, we're talking about one of the best players in the world,
God,
though.
The last day would get so degen if I wasn't there. It would get so.
That's the thing. Like,
imagine 2 hours to go, and I've got like 3,600, and I just sit 2,550. Like, imagine that. Oh my God, that would be so sick.
Yeah, I think what makes those bet you're really gonna do this bet, right? I don't want to say anything that might get in the way of this bet, but
I'm gonna do the challenge, but like I don't know if I'm gonna have bets going or not.
I think with something like with the bet, it's just too easy to potentially have somebody go dump some money to you potentially in a situation like
I'm gonna be on stream with like thousands of people watching.
Well, what happens if someone does it and you don't ask them to though? Like then a big situation. And it happened in my play. I did a play money chip prop bet, and dumbass fantastic cow like basically gave me a lot of chips one time. Like,
what the fuck to, by the way? What's he up to?
He's still dating the same girl. He's dating this girl from Vancouver he met, and they've been living all over the place. I think they might be living back in Vancouver right now. They were in San Diego for a while. They might be in San Diego, but they think they might be in Vancouver back there. I'm not sure.
I haven't seen him on Stars in forever.
Yeah, he doesn't play Stars anymore. He plays American sites.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, I think in that bet, I don't know. I mean, it'd be fun. I want to see you. I mean, do you think that's like I think it would be, it could set a good blueprint for people that are also looking to run up their money too, though.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm going to do this either way. I think it's good for people overall to just like see it go down, you know? But I guess like, I'm just trying to make it as big of a thing as I can. And I feel like maybe if people are prop betting, it's bigger. I don't know. I think so. Probably. I
think so. I mean, I think people are going to bet against you just to bet against you. What kind of odds do you think would be GTO here?
I think I would need small odds, like 1.5 to 1 or something.
All right, I'm just gonna sell this for you. I'm gonna stop. Hold on. Let me reverse here. I don't know, man. Well, I mean, I think you got to look at what people are going to bet in the chat. It seems like from the chat, a lot of people are saying this is impossible. A lot of people are saying that this is going to be a hard situation. I think it's coming in as something like 2 to 1, seeing what kind of action you can get. I think that'll be a good starting point.
Yeah, it could be.
You know, 2 to 1. See what you can get from that.
1 month is not a very long period of time.
You're gonna be playing all day though, man. You're probably stream the entire thing too. It'll be great for everything.
It would be great for everything.
Chris P said I'll put up 10K against you, Doug. How much action do you need to get to make this bet happen?
Who's Chris P, by the way? You know him?
I know him from Twitter rather.
Twitter.
Yeah.
I think, by the way, I think people are interested in this.
I think so too. I'm looking. I'd bet against Doug at 2 to 1. 100 to 10K is a ton. Well, looks like we're getting some action here. How much money do you need to get to make this bet to do it?
I mean, like, so the question is, like, the only thing that's going to change here for me is, like, do I just do it or do I try and do it in a month?
What do you mean?
You know? Well, I mean, like, I'm going to do this either way. But, like, if I don't have side bets, I'll just do it at, like, my own pace.
Let's do it in a month. I like this. Let's go. 1 month, 31 days. You have to go from 100 USD to 10K. Can you bust? If you bust, is that it? You're done?
You're done, right?
Holy shit.
I feel like it has to be you lose if you bust.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't think it works any other way.
You don't think you should be able to get one reload though?
I mean, the thing is, like, I'm not going to play in a way where I get a reload. Or I'm going to need a reload. Like, I'm going to move down in stakes if I lose at the start. I'm going to go from the $1 down to the 50 cents. That would be pretty sad. Sorry, guys.
Like, think about it. You only get a reload if you get above $2,000. So let's say, think about how disheartening it would be if you got above 2K and then you just got fucking jumped back down to 100. Like, I'd like to just see the struggle.
It's not going to happen, though. I'm not going to, like, play with, like, you realize I'm going to be doing this with, like, the correct bankroll, right?
Okay. I mean, okay. I guess so. Okay. So 2 to 1. Should we try? Okay. So if you guys are interested in betting against Doug at 2 to 1, get in touch with me or him on Twitter. We're going to make this bet go down.
I would have to do this on Stars, wouldn't I?
Probably, yeah.
Fuck. I have, like, I think you have to do Stars. How low are there heads up sitting goes? I think you gotta start off with heads up sitting goes, right?
Yeah, I don't. Do they go down to $1? Let me take a look here.
By the way, I like that the way this conversation has gone. The topic opened with why does no one do these challenges anymore, and it has now moved into we're doing one. Like quite the little turnaround here.
Why not? I mean, we got LA 500. It looks like we're getting some action here. No way he makes 10K in a month here.
No way, huh?
Does rakeback count too?
It has to count, right?
So rakeback does count.
Rakeback counts.
So what is stars now? 20, like 10% or something like that?
Not good is what it is.
Okay, so
Oh
Jeff says his wife's gonna be pissed if they're going back to Canada for a bankroll challenge. Yeah, that's true.
Girlfriend.
Girlfriend.
Yes. Sorry, we're going back to Canada. I have to play 1 cent, 2 cent. Sorry.
So you're undecided if it's going to happen. They shouldn't get in touch with you if they want to make any wagers right now.
Well, the main thing here is, do I want to do it in a month? Do I want to go to Canada to do this? Which I kind of... Oh, man, I'm going to have to do this. I think sit and goes are going to have to be part of it.
What do you think that strategy is once you get past the $10,000, the $1,000 point?
The rake is so bad in these sit and goes. Holy shit. Sorry, say it again.
What do you think the strategy is once you get past $1,000? Like, what's the hardest part of it?
At some point, you can start playing cash. I mean, at some point, I'm going to start playing like the heads up tables, right?
So is there any stipulation that you have to use a proper bankroll management? You have to drop down at a certain point?
No, there's no stipulations.
So there's no stipulations at all on that.
If I want to be a DJ, like it's my bankroll challenge, right?
Right. Okay.
Like at some point, I would be able to play like 29 cent, 50 cent heads up. Although the rake is so bad there, but I think I can beat it. It's so bad though, but.
What do you think would be a better prop bet? This bet or some sort of bet where you had to win a certain amount of money at 25 cent, 50 cent heads up, no limit?
This bet because it's more something that people can identify with more. Right? I mean, like people, like everyone knows what it means to turn 100 into 10K, but like NL 50, like people don't like, I think that it's way better as this.
I think so too. It looks like we got some action here, man. So what kind of number are you thinking about money you'd like to get bet against you to go ahead and do it?
Well, I mean, I guess I would want at least like, I made a mistake here before when I did my first challenge, and I bet like too much of my roll, and I was like, couldn't sleep at night. So I would want to go, I guess, on the small side, like maybe like 50K to win 100K. What?
I'm like, I don't know. All right. I mean, I'm not sure what level you're on right there. Okay. So I mean, I don't think you're going to get $100,000 worth of action against you on this, buddy.
I don't know. Maybe.
Why don't we start a thread so you get gauge an interest here?
Yeah, this actually might not be a bad idea.
Nothing wrong with gauging interest. We'll check the interest. We'll see what people want to say. We'll see what people think.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll go from there.
Let me think about what I'm going to do. I mean, I'm going to stream in like 10 minutes, and I'll have time to think about it. And I mean, I'm going to do some kind of challenge. The question is, am I going to do it in like a period of time? Man, 1 month would be so sick.
Think about it, Doug.
It's a lot of money, man. So like, go from 100 to, man, I'm going to be grinding these like micro stakes lobbies and stuff. Oh my God. I couldn't even play $3 tournaments to open.
Yeah, I mean, I think like, what would you play? I guess so. It's heads up, sit and goes. That's what you'd have to play.
I could do whatever I mean, I would create a strategy. Obviously, create a strategy.
Right.
And then figure it out. Although, let's keep in mind, the people I'm going to be playing against are going to be bad. Going to be really bad.
Well, I mean, the people you play against at 25.50 are bad. I can't imagine what they're like at that dollar sit and goes.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Bad regs galore. Yeah, guys, we'll take a couple more questions. We're going to wrap it up here in about 8 minutes. And and yeah, I'm excited. Yo, Doug, you have a sick car, bro, Blake says. Blake Curry.
Thanks, bud.
What kind of car do you have right now?
I have a SL63 AMG.
SL63 AMG. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Doug, what is your opinion of Alex Millar, aka Canoe, or I Read Your Soul, either heads up or six max?
I think that he's a really smart guy. I think he's a good six max player. I think he used to be a good heads up player, but he kind of went off the edge a little bit. He like started to like play. Like sometimes people spend too much time trying to get to GTO, if you know what I mean, Joey. And then what happens is they just play like nowhere near GTO anymore. They start to play like kind of like they're off in the woods, right? They're just living in the woods and they're just swinging their axe in the woods. And so he plays more like that now. But I think he used to be really good at heads up, and he's still good, very good at six max.
Yeah, I sometimes get lost in the woods when I'm chasing right. GTO for sure on some things.
That happens.
Definitely understand how that goes. Jeff, oh my God, wow, you need to pay him for this, Doug. I can foresee the. Let me show you how I turned $100 into 10K banner on UPswing coming soon.
That would be good.
That would be good. Think about the Facebook ad that would make, Doug.
That would be a great
Follow along as one of the best heads up no limit hold'em players. Doug Polk tries to go from $100 to $10,000. Can he do it? Stay tuned for updates on UpswingPoker.com.
That will be an ad, 100%.
Yeah, I know. I mean, listen, man, I'm full of these fucking ads. I'm telling you, I'm ready to go.
I'm full of these ads.
Laura Johnson, what's up, Laura? What's going on, mommy? What's happening, man? Jeremy Ross says, Doug, thanks for doing another one of these with Joey. Shout-out represent. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You want to have any shout-outs, Doug, before we wrap things up here in a little bit?
No, man, I'm gonna move right into my stream, so I'm sure I can give people the necessary shout-outs when I start streaming. But it would be great for me if you could just host the show for a few minutes while I set up and get my stream going, and then you could host me. Does that work?
I'm a host you?
Yeah.
All right. Host for host is what it's like.
I mean, it's all good in the hood, right?
Host for host. You want to talk quickly about the upcoming UPswing poker team on Twitch? You got some new guys sort of.
For sure, yeah. We have a couple guys that we're going to team up with, and they're going to promote UPswing, and I'm going to promote their streams, and they're going to be part of the team, man. I'm excited.
So the idea for UPswing is to make it, you want to make this as big as it can get. You want to play the game of how big you can get UPswing. Well,
to be honest with you, I've actually kind of wanted for a little while to help out some guys that have like the middling tier streamers, and just help their streams grow. And I wanted to pick some guys that I thought had good content, cool guys that, seem like they kind of had their shit together. And so I like looked through the directory, talked to some people, and I found a couple guys that we'll be talking about soon, so I'm sure, that are going to be working with me, and I'm excited for it.
It sounds like fun, man. It sounds like fun. Maybe a little YouTube team in the mix as well too here coming up.
We got to figure some stuff out, but that would be cool too. We got to figure that stuff out, Joey.
We got all kind of fun stuff coming up, man. It's exciting. I'll ask Bill Perkins on Wednesday if he wants action. That's what Susan recommended I do.
That's actually a good idea.
I guess I could do that. Yeah.
Man, 100 to 10. I legitimately don't know what the odds of me being able to do that are. Like, because I'm going to have to play so small out of the gate. So small.
I mean, okay, so think about it from this. Let me do something. Hold on a second. So let me see here. Let me see. So how many hour days do you think you'd be playing?
I imagine most of them 10, 12, 14 hours a day.
All right. So you play 14 hours a day. Yeah. Well, well.
But your play also deteriorates.
Well, yeah. I mean, plus your yeah, definitely. I mean, it definitely does. I was thinking about something else, but yeah, I mean, it's going to deteriorate for sure. Yeah. Yeah. But at the same time, yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. Listen, I wouldn't want to fucking do it. It sounds like challenging, but I certainly wouldn't want to do it.
You wouldn't want to be the guy doing it, or you wouldn't want to bet against me?
No, I'm not betting against it, first of all, but I don't want to do it. I'd like to watch it, but I don't want to do it.
Okay, I gotcha.
So I think it is very plus EV for you to do it, though, overall, for the landscape of things. And win or lose, I think it'll be a success for you no matter what.
I hope so.
So, all right, Doug, I'm gonna get you hosted over here on Twitch. I'll let you guys go over to Doug's page on Twitch. It's at UpswingPoker, right?
Yep. Here, let me message you.
You guys want to go check that out? Check it out. If you're watching this back on replay, much love to you. And I'll be back. I'm going to be uploading a video tomorrow. A new video me and Adrian Phoenix did, a new Keeping Up with the Pokers. If you want to check out all Doug's stuff, it's I know that. Come on, puppy. Check out Doug on YouTube at Doug Polk Poker and on Twitter.
Check out Snapchat WCG Writer.
Jesus. Twitter at Doug Polk, real Doug Polk. What is it?
Doug Polk Poker.
Doug Polk Poker.
And of course, UpswingPoker.com. Gotcha.
UpswingPoker.com. Okay. What else? How many? There's so much stuff. My God.
Good. That's good. We're good.
All right, guys. New podcast will be next Monday, Wednesday, Friday next week. I appreciate all the comments. Appreciate all the questions. Watching from the grimy Majestic Star. Jesus fucking Christ. Shout out to Majestic Star, Adoy. That is not the place you want to fucking go. Jonathan K, Denzel Higgins, Benny Powell, Lujuski, Tom Plaxey, my boy Jeff, Blindside, Blake, Megacillus, Yodun Son, Normac, Lost in Poker, my boy D-Dog Killer, Aurora Chad, Tom. That's it, man. All right, Doug, go get set up. I'm gonna give you a host on Twitch. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Guys in the chat, much love. I'm gonna stay on Twitch for a second and YouTube. I'll see you guys soon. Peace out.
All right, thanks, Ray. See you.
Peace.